Hi, my name is Shireen and welcome to my channel. On this channel I do reviews and kind of analysis of various makeup and skincare products. So I talk about ingredients in them, I talk about how they perform for me, and I talk about the formulas. And today I'm going to be doing that with this guy right here. This is the Boscia Jelly Ball Cleanser. So I'm going to be going through each of the ingredients and talking about what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to perform, whether they live up to their claims, and then I'm going to actually try to take my makeup off with it. So just in case you're curious, I'm wearing the NARS Radiant Longwear Foundation in the shade Stromboli and the Natasha Denona Tropic palette on my eyes. There it is. You can kind of see where the colors are. And I'll include everything else that I'm wearing on my face in the description down below, just in case you're curious. But my makeup is not the point of this video. The point of this video is how easily I can get it off using this brand new product that I've never used before. So let's get into talking about the product. The product is, as I said, the Boscia Jelly Ball Cleanser, and this is 3.52 ounces or 100 grams, and it costs $20 on Sephora's website, which is where I bought it. So this is kind of like a weird looking thing. It's not really what we're used to seeing in a cleanser, which beckons the question, is it a gimmick? Especially with the huge amount of products that we've been seeing lately that contain activated charcoal or bamboo charcoal, which is what this guy has. So what is it? According to the description on the site, it's a jelly textured cleansing ball that deeply cleans pores with black charcoal. And it says that it's good for normal, oily, combination, dry, and sensitive skin. So basically all skin types. And it says that it provides solutions for pores, dryness, and oiliness. So we're going to address whether it actually does that as we go through the different ingredients. And it says that it's formulated without parabens, sulfates, phthalates, preservatives, artificial fragrance, color, gluten, and ethanol alcohol. So I actually want to do another video discussing parabens, sulfates, and phthalates, and whether the fact that a lot of cosmetic products and a lot of skincare products have lately been choosing not to include those is a good thing, or if it's just like a big hype train that's kind of not backed up by research. Not having preservatives is generally a good thing, because preservatives are just supposed to maintain the product and aren't really supposed to do much for your skin. No artificial fragrance is good for people who are sensitive to fragrances. No gluten is good for people who are allergic to gluten. And ethanol alcohol is generally a good product to avoid because it ages you. So part of their pitch, and I'm mentioning this for a specific reason, is that essential to every product is Boscia's Botanical Blend, an effective mix of jojoba leaf and willow herb. Willow herb is a natural skin calming botanical that helps to alleviate inflammation and redness. So I wanted to mention that because the technical name for willow herb is Epilobium angustifolium. I just looked that up. I don't actually know that much about it. And I don't see that or willow herb listed as an ingredient at all. So that's a little bit confusing to me. I'm not really sure why that is. But if you happen to know, please reach out to me and I will include a footnote or something at the bottom to explain why that is. But right now it kind of looks shady, but I don't want to make any claims that I can't rightfully make. So I'm also going to link my sources below so you can reference them just in case you want to know more about anything, or if you want to fact check me, which, you know, up to you. But if you do notice that something is wrong, again, reach out to me and I'll try my best to correct it. I don't want to be spreading false information whatsoever. That is not at all the point of my channel. Okay. So now we're going to go down the ingredients, and the ingredients are usually listed in order of not necessarily importance, but in order of concentration, which makes sense because the first ingredient is water. Water is the first ingredient in most products. Glycerin is the second ingredient, and glycerin is actually a fairly common ingredient to see. So glycerin is also known as glycerol, and it's a component of many lipids. It naturally occurs in the human body, and it's actually the backbone of triacylglycerols, which is how fats are stored in the body. It can have a vegetable origin, it can have an animal origin, or it can be synthetically produced. So we're talking about how it's sourced and placed in this product. Commonly, it's a byproduct of soap manufacture, which uses animal fats. So it likely has an animal origin, meaning that this is likely not a vegan product. It's not advertised as a vegan product, so it probably isn't. And then glycerin is used in a lot of cosmetic and skincare products. Particularly, I've noticed it in moisturizing products. Of course, the purpose of this is not to be a moisturizer, it's to be a cleanser. But this suggests that it might have some moisturizing properties. Okay, and it's a humectant. And humectants moisturize the skin by pulling water from the dermis to the epidermis, which actually means that they're pulling water from a lower layer of skin to an upper layer of skin. And it does this by the formation of hydrogen bonds. So if you actually look at the structure of glycerin or glycerol, it has 3 carbons in its backbone, and then it has an oxygen and hydrogen attached to each of those 3 carbons. That's called a hydroxy group. And hydroxy groups are capable of forming hydrogen bonds because they contain oxygen and hydrogen, which are capable of forming hydrogen bonds. And so, through the formation of these hydrogen bonds, water is pulled up to the top of your skin, which hydrates the top of your skin. In fact, this increases the amount of moisture in the stratum corneum, which is the uppermost layer of the skin, and it makes it look less flaky and more hydrated. The stratum corneum is mostly made of dead keratinocytes, so it's dead skin cells, largely. But there are also some living cells below it. Glycerin can also draw water from the air above your skin, so it's actually causing moisture to enter your skin, which is a good thing, but this will only happen if the air is humid. So if humidity is below 65%, then glycerin just draws moisture to the topmost layer of the skin from the bottom and keeps it there. So effectively, it's dehydrating your skin because it's just pulling moisture up to where there are less living cells. This can make your skin look better, but it's actually drying it out. Unrelated, but glycerin, for this reason, is often combined with occlusives, and occlusives form a lipid or oil barrier which retains moisture in your skin, and this helps reduce the drying effects of things like glycerin. But of course that's not relevant because we're talking about what's actually in here, and you're probably not going to use an occlusive with a cleanser. That doesn't make a ton of sense. So then the next ingredient is potassium cocoa glycinate. This is used as a cleansing agent, and it's a surfactant. So if you reference the structure of it, you see that it has a long hydrocarbon chain, meaning a long chain of carbons and hydrogens, and then a polar head. So it helps form these micellar type balls that maximize favorable interactions between things and trap oil. Let me break that down a little bit more. So the long hydrocarbon chain is nonpolar, meaning that it attracts other things that are nonpolar. Nonpolar doesn't like water. Oil doesn't like water. So that long hydrocarbon chain is going to form a little ball, and it's going to trap the oil in the middle. And then at the top of the ball, meaning the entire surface area of the ball, is going to be formed from the polar heads. And those are going to interact with water on the outside. So it's going to separate the oil and the dirt and stuff like that from everything else, and that's going to help it wash away from your skin, thus cleansing your skin. Okay, the next ingredient is pentylene glycol. This is a synthetic compound, it's produced synthetically, and it's a skin conditioning agent. So if you compare its structure to glycerin, you can see that it's very similar in structure. It's just missing that last hydroxyl group, so it can function very similarly. It is also meant to act as a solvent, meaning that it increases interactions between compounds, most likely through hydrogen bonds and hydrophobic interactions, as I just discussed, so it can help dissolve things. Okay, so far, we've gone through ingredients that are super standard for a cleanser. We see them a lot, and if you start looking through ingredients and things that you own, you'll probably see those things listed out. But let's get to some things that are a little bit more specific to this product. The next ingredient is Tamarindus indica seed gum. So here's what they say it does. They say it calms, soothes, and hydrates skin with hyaluronic acid, vitamin A, vitamin C, and antioxidants. Here's what I found. This compound is a polysaccharide, meaning that it's a bunch of sugars bound together, and it's most commonly cited as a humectant, which we discussed above, that helps moisturize the skin by drawing water into certain parts of it. One study found that it has antioxidant abilities, so that kind of corroborates one of the claims that they make. And what that actually means is that it prevents free radicals from wreaking havoc, I don't know why I pronounced it like that, wreaking havoc on your skin. Free radicals are formed by the natural bodily processes. I could go into that, but I think it would add an unnecessary amount of detail. But they're formed naturally in your skin, and they damage your skin, they cause aging, they cause wrinkles, because they break necessary bonds in your skin, because they have these extra electrons on them that they're not supposed to have. Like, they have an uneven amount of electrons, and they want to grab more electrons, and that causes bonds to break, and that's really bad for your skin, and it causes aging. So antioxidants are really helpful because they go take up those free radicals before they're able to disrupt other important bonds in your tissues. Okay. So we have the antioxidant claim corroborated. I wasn't able to find anything about vitamins A or C, so I don't really know how it uses those. And I was confused because it says that it hydrates skin with hyaluronic acid, but I found a study that compared its effectiveness relative to hyaluronic acid. So that suggests that it doesn't really contain hyaluronic acid. Those seem like they're conflicting claims. But again, I wasn't able to find anything else, so I can't speak to it beyond that. The next ingredient is Oryza sativa rice bran oil. So that's an occlusive, and that means that it forms a protective layer over your skin, and since it's an oil, it's going to be an oily layer, and that helps keep moisture in. The next ingredient is Simondacea chinensis seed oil, also known as jojoba oil. So here's what they say about it. Jojoba leaf is a powerful antioxidant that helps to prevent free radical damage caused by pollution, UV rays, and other environmental irritants. Here's what I found. It's an emollient, meaning that it's a moisturizing agent, so it helps hydrate your skin. It's also a viscosity controller. In this case, it's an increasing agent, meaning that it makes the thing more viscous. This looks pretty viscous, so, you know. And its texture is similar to sebum oil, which is the oil that your skin naturally produces. So this might lead to clogged pores and breakouts for people with oily skin, which seems to conflict with their claim that it works for people with oily skin. Again, I actually don't know. I don't have oily skin. I have pretty dry skin, so I wouldn't even be able to speak to that if I were to start using the product regularly. But maybe something to watch out for. According to some sources, it contains powerful antioxidants. It also contains omega-6 and 9 acids and vitamins A, D, and E. So these are all important things to have in your diet. Topical application of vitamin A in the form of retinol is commonly accepted as a way to prevent aging. Vitamin E is also a lesser known antioxidant. And then for the rest, I don't really have exposure to research that explains how topical application of those things can have a beneficial purpose to you. The next ingredient is polyglycerol 10 laurate. This is related to lauric acid, and it's a surfactant and an emulsifying agent, so it helps form those balls that trap oils the way that we explained earlier via hydrophobic and hydrophilic interactions. And then if we look at the structure, we see how that's evident because it has those hydrocarbon chains and has those polar heads, so it explains how it would be able to trap oils and separate them from water and the more polar things. The next ingredient is glucose, which is a monosaccharide, and it's also a primary food source for our bodies. We use it by pushing it into glycolysis and then the citric acid cycle in order to make energy in the form of ATP. So then that beckons the question, what's it doing in cosmetics? Well, it's probably obtained from cornstarch, and one source said that it has water-binding properties, and that's all that I could really find. So that seems like it would bind water to maybe hydrate the skin or maybe facilitate the other reactions that require water. Yeah, because it does say that you're supposed to wet this before you use it or lather your skin when you use it. So that's all I could really find. Okay, now we're at charcoal powder, which seems to be the defining ingredient of a product like this. So here's what they say. Activated black bamboo charcoal absorbs pore clogging impurities without irritation, leaving the skin clearer, healthier looking, and more refined. Here's what I found. Charcoal is a dry carbon-containing material obtained from heating organic substances. Checks out, organic substances have lots of carbon. It's highly absorptive, so that kind of supports the argument that it absorbs impurities and prevents them from clogging your pores, and kind of makes sense as to why it's found in a cleanser. And it's insoluble in water, which probably is what makes it absorptive, meaning that, and this is just purely me speculating, I wasn't able to find much on it, but since it's insoluble in water, that means that it's going to attract other things such as oils that are insoluble in water, and that's going to help it clean your skin. Its absorptive properties also help it act as an exfoliant because it would presumably attract the dead skin cells from the top layer of your skin. However, given that this is a defining ingredient, I had a lot of trouble finding reliable research that kind of helps justify the benefits of using activated charcoal. That's particularly concerning because there seems to be a lot of hype surrounding activated charcoal recently. It's in a lot of cleansers, in a lot of like face masks that are supposed to declog pores, etc., etc. And most of the claims that were being made about the benefits of activated charcoal were actually on the websites of like retailers that sell products that contain activated charcoal. Maybe it does work, like that doesn't negate the possibility that it works, but it does suggest that a lot of it is hype, and maybe there isn't as much research to back up the fact that it works. Okay, so then we are on our final ingredient, and that is Carmexiferous obtusa oil. You would think that I would practice saying these before I go on camera. This is also known as hinoki oil, and here's what they say about it. It possesses astringent benefits that minimize the appearance of pores, decongest skin, and soothes irritation. Here's what I found. Most sources said that it was a fragrance, but one study said that it's an anti-inflammatory agent, meaning that it could soothe the skin by suppressing an immune response that would cause redness and texture in the skin. There was also a lot of support for hinoki oil and hair growth, but that's not really relevant with a product like this. So I couldn't find that much about how it minimizes the appearance of pores or even how it decongests skin. An anti-inflammatory wouldn't necessarily do either of those things. That said, a lot of things claim to minimize pores, and I haven't really seen any research on how that works. Those are all of the ingredients that we have in here. We definitely have ingredients that would act as cleansing agents. We also have a lot of ingredients that would help moisturize your skin, which is good because that prevents your skin from being stripped too much as you cleanse. Now that we've gone through all the ingredients, I'm going to actually try out the product to remove this look. And today I'm wearing a very colorful look, lots of shimmery shadows going on. I used a glitter glue, I'm wearing mascara, so it's going to really test out whether this product is going to work. And hopefully by tracing all of the colors, you're going to see how well it's working and how quickly it works. And I'm just going to follow the instructions provided on the Sephora website on how to use the product, and hopefully that way we'll get the best possible results. This is a completely unopened product that I have right here, and the first step is to open the box and remove the plastic enclosed jelly ball and provided pick. There. Okay, it has this layer, and then this seems like it's a stand that you could use. Okay, so if we open this here, just like a plastic pick, pretty sharp. We have what appears to be a balloon filled with like a grayish, semi-opaque thing. Please note that the jelly ball is covered in a thin latex balloon inside the plastic encasement. Okay, so we got that. And then it says, use provided pick, puncture jelly ball in plastic encasement from seal covered hole at top of ball to break balloon. Let me see if I can find a video on how to do this, because I don't want to ruin it.
Provided pick to puncture it within the plastic base.
Oh! That's the seal covered hole. Okay, don't pull this apart when you have it. Just don't do it. It's gonna be regrettable. Okay. We've reinstated the jelly ball to its original condition. So, right when you remove the jelly ball from the container, you want to not open it from this thing, and you just want to take the pick, and you want to remove this thing that you have right here, so this seal, like so. And then, using the pick, you want to pop the ball. No! Oh, nope. Can you see this? It's not puncturing. Oh, punctured. Nailed it. What's next?
After the balloon breaks, remove the top plastic lid and toss the remnants. Now you can cleanse.
You don't even need me. This tells you everything. So let's see if that actually happened. Okay, yeah, it happened. It didn't happen as cleanly as in her video, but definitely happened. So we have this guy, and then we have the balloon. So I'm gonna remove that part. And then there's some latex still at the base, so I'm gonna remove that. Oh, it's so cute! Aww! Okay, so it has like a kind of jelly feel. It's super solid. I feel like if I bounce it against something, it wouldn't like turn into a glob, but it might like kind of crack at some point. Now it says, to cleanse, remove jelly ball from bottom plastic base and massage it directly over wet face in gentle circular motions, or wet ball, lather in hands, and massage product onto face with fingertips. I have my little large, pretty sizable really, mug here, and I'm gonna guy in it. This is cold water, by the way, which is maybe not the best thing. I'm just going to kind of rub it to see how much I can lather it. Okay, so I'm seeing a little bit of like a soapy residue type thing, which is what I would expect coming off of it. Yeah, okay. I'm definitely getting suds. So let me try rubbing that on my face. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that this feels really gentle. I'm wearing a full coverage, kind of pretty heavy foundation, and I feel like it's not moving around a ton. Okay, now I'm getting some action by being a little bit more aggressive. Let me try wetting my face on the other side. And then rubbing the ball directly onto my wet face. Okay, foundation's coming off on the ball. Although I feel like if I rubbed anything against my face with that amount of vigor, foundation would come off on it. Okay, so stuff is coming off. I'm going to try wiping it with, this is a makeup eraser cloth. It definitely took off some of the product, and you can see that because my foundation is just slightly darker than my skin tone, and it's a little bit lighter here than it is in the surrounding area. Okay, now the real test. I'm going to use it on my eyes. Okay. We're definitely seeing some action there. So that didn't 100% remove it, but it largely removed it. That was not bad. So when I look at them, my eyelashes actually look pretty clean. I think I can still feel a little bit of mascara residue, and I still see some glitter just over my eye, but it's probably just because I haven't splashed water over my face. So overall, I think that this did an okay job. My face feels really hydrated. It really, really does. Way more hydrated than it usually does, and I don't know if that's because this didn't actually remove that much, or because it actually does keep your skin very hydrated. So now I'm going to go in to my bathroom, and I'm going to wash off the rest of my face. I'm going to do a cleanse over the rest of my face using something else to kind of determine how much of my foundation, especially this, removed, because you can tell with the eyeshadow how much it took away, but the foundation is a little bit harder. And since eyeshadow is a powder, it's a little bit easier to clean than foundation. And the hardest thing to clean is like an eyelash glue or a similar kind of adhesive type product, or mascara. Yeah, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about kind of my final thoughts on the product. Oh, and before I go, it says that this can be used daily, morning and night, and it says that the jelly ball will shrink with continued use, and with proper usage it should last up to 45 days. I don't know how many times it's assuming that you're using it over the course of that 45 days, so that doesn't really tell you how many like individual sessions. Now that I've cleansed my face and I've cleansed this little guy, I feel ready to speak to its pros and its cons and share my final thoughts about it. I was actually blown away by how much better I realized that this worked at removing my makeup than my usual oil cleanser. So I used my oil cleanser on this eye and on the foundation on my forehead, and I feel like this guy got rid of the mascara and the like blue residue from the eyeshadow pretty much immediately, whereas my oil cleanser took a little bit more rubbing to really get it off. And I used the makeup eraser. Yeah, I used the makeup eraser cloth for both. So that can't really be the thing that, you know, makes one thing easier than another. So this guy actually did a pretty good job cleaning my face. I didn't notice any foundation coming off when I did my second cleanse. Using another cleanser, I use a foaming cleanser for my second cleanse. So it actually did take off my makeup. And the other pro is that my face feels softer than it normally feels after I clean it. So my face is really dry. I have really dry skin. I wouldn't say that I have sensitive skin, but you know, I do have responsive skin, especially since I started exfoliating. And at some point I was definitely over exfoliating, and it just feels like it's been rubbed raw when I clean it every night, even though I try to use more gentle products and not strip it of anything. And right now it definitely feels softer. So I would say that all of the moisturizing agents in here actually did do something, because my skin does feel more hydrated. So there's a good thing. I think those are pretty much the pluses that I had in mind. Like, it works, it cleans your skin, and it doesn't strip your skin, which is good. So that means that the only real negative that I have is that this is kind of like this is an experience. Kind of like a weird, it's fun to use, but I don't think that it's going to be very convenient to kind of like have to like rub this weird, strange, slippery ball thing on your face every night and every morning when you want to clean it. And yeah, I think that it would slow you down. I think that it would be kind of like weird and a hassle. So if you're somebody who is in a rush, which I feel like most people are, like most people don't want to have their daily routine take longer, this is probably not worth it. And there are probably cleansers that work as well as it does on the market for you. I still feel like, given the usage of it, it might take a little bit more time for me to clean my face using this than my normal routine, even though once you get the product on there, this works a little bit faster. So there's the main con right there. So that really depends on, you know, what your life looks like and what your daily routine looks like. But I will definitely say that this is not a gimmick. It's a rather novel format for a product that does seem to work well. I don't know if the novel format really adds value to it, because I feel like you could probably get those same ingredients into a shape that was maybe less interesting, but maybe easier to work with. Yeah, so those are my final thoughts. It actually worked pretty well. It seemed to live up to the claims that I researched, at least. I can't really speak to like pore minimization or anything like that based on one use. But I'm pretty impressed, and since I have it, I'm going to keep using it. And if it, you know, works a miracle for my pores or something like that, then I will circle back to you and let you know. So there's that, and thank you so much for watching this. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you come back for my next review. Bye!